It really feels like ages that I've done a video. It's actually been 3 weeks, I guess. And why did I take the break? I was traveling, I was lazy, plus I reviewed all the content that I've put so far. But anyway, so I'm going to try to make my videos a little longer. Address one particular topic, the science along with it, so that you guys get the full picture. And what I want to talk about today is salts. So throughout the course of this video, whenever I say the word salt or salts, I mean not table salt. What I consume is Himalayan pink salt, or you could use some good quality sea salt. With all the microplastics in the ocean, I don't know. I wouldn't trust those. And the third option would be plain rock salt. The non-pink ones that you get in any Kadawala shop. Why do I want to talk about salts? The science is something that most people don't understand, don't know about, never hear about. It is called the sodium-potassium balance in the body. So sodium and potassium are in the same column in the periodic table. Chemically, their behavior is very similar, but biologically their function and stuff is extremely different. Now, the main things that are a cause of concern at this point, at least in retrospect with me, was that my diet was very heavy on sodium, and I never even bothered to worry about potassium. So the daily need, averaged out across genders and age groups and all, is 2 to 3 grams of sodium and 4 to 5 grams of potassium. And my guess is my consumption was more like 5 to 6 grams of sodium in a day, and less than 2 grams of potassium. I mean, 2 is like a liberal amount. My guess is probably I was at half a gram or something. Anyway, so what does this result in? Low potassium means poor muscles. Heart is a muscle, so your heart is going to become weak if you don't have enough potassium in your food. So you often hear that sodium causes blood pressure. That is true. Sodium is required to maintain the blood pressure, but it also gets victimized because of the deficiency of potassium with cardiac related problems. In reality, the balance is where the struggle is. But it is very safe to assume that in general today's population, the way we live, we have much higher sodium levels in the body compared to potassium. Now, how do you fix it? There are two ways. One is you increase your potassium intake, which everybody should, in my opinion. So my recommendation, mushrooms, because all the other ones high in potassium are very hard to find here. I'm not sure about the cities. The second thing I would strongly suggest is again replacing your table salt, sodium chloride, with any of the salts that I mentioned, because say for example the pink salt that I used is clinically tested or whatever, lab tested, and they certify that it's 40 to 50% sodium chloride, while the rest is all kinds of other salts, sodium sulfates and all the other sodium salts, potassium,
magnesium, calcium, lithium, beryllium, boron, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, titanium, scandium.
I mean, all these things the body needs, I didn't even know. Yeah, I looked the list of elements up. So the salt replacement will help increase the amounts of other salts in the body, and since you would consume potassium, the sodium will start falling slowly. Right, so the balance is extremely critical to maintain, because you may end up consuming sodium in excess without even realizing you need potassium, because your body is in balance at all times. What do? I drink salt water. I think I've mentioned that in the past. I add a little bit of pink salt, which is what I always consume, in the water I drink, the food that I eat. I don't use table salt at all anymore. In fact, in our house we stopped using table salt for a while. What that has resulted in is that there is sodium in the pink salt, there is potassium as well in the pink salt. So the balance has kind of moved slowly, the gap is reduced, and I consume high potassium foods regularly. Well, what this does is very interesting, the consumption of the salt that I have been doing for a while. First is that because you are low on potassium, high on sodium, your body tends to retain water because it doesn't want to lose potassium. Because every time the body drains out some water, urination or sweat, all these elements, all these salts, electrolytes are going to go off, right? So the body tends to retain a lot of water because your potassium level is low. So by increasing your potassium level slowly, your body will bring about that balance and start flushing out and maintaining it. Now the side effect of this is very interesting. The water retained is gone, so you lose weight. The water weight in the body, which is not fat weight, it is pure water weight. And in that context, one thing I must bring up is there is something called a salt water flush, which is seems to be getting popular. My wife looked it up and she was telling me she wanted to try it, and I told her, do not do it. And I say the same thing to everybody here: do not do that. Worst case scenario, death. Best case scenario, in case of overdose of sodium, is you'd be lucky if somebody is around to take you to an emergency room. So don't do that. Instead, use the salts and add them regularly in little bit of quantity, and your body will flush out that water weight in due time. So there's no need to hurry to drink up 2-3 liters of salt water and kill yourself, right? Don't take that risk. Before anybody asks me, how about eating low sodium salt that is available in the market, I have not researched those. I mean, the first time I heard low sodium salt, I used to wonder if free chlorine radicals float around in the salt. I mean, I really did imagine it that way. But my guess is it probably is replaced with potassium, which is better than having table salt any day. So you may want to research it, and if you're not able to, let me know. I'll dig into the ingredients and find out what's happening there. But anyways, take care and have a lovely week.